Welcome back to The Spot, the place where lifestyle real estate meets with me, B. Brown. I'm a realtor, content creator. I share real estate tips for those who are ready to get into the market and lifestyle inspo. We're at the top of 2022. Happy New Year's. And with that, that means that we have a couple more months before the home buying season really kicks off in spring. So sellers should be getting their homes together now. I'm going to drop some seller videos as well to help you guys out. But this video is for buyers, how to get under contract to close in under 30 days. And here's how. Step one, you want to get your team together. Now, you can start by identifying an agent first, or you can start by identifying your lender first, either or. If you're going to go the lender route first, then go ahead and I would say vet at least 3 to 4 lenders. Look at their rates, what the loan is going to cost you, what your interest rate is going to be, and then decide who you want to work with from there. So now you're going to move into getting the whole team together. You can identify an agent. You can find agents where honestly almost anywhere. Look at into your personal network, also Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube, and find you a lender. Not a lender, find you an agent. And the other parties that should be on this team, an attorney or a title company, depending on your state and what the laws require. And get my trusty book. Let me see if I missed anybody. Agent, lender, attorney, and who you're going to use for an inspector. I like to have all these things identified in the beginning. I tell my clients, because when you start to submit offers, you don't want to have to go and figure out, who am I going to use as an inspector? Oh my goodness, who am I going to call for a real estate attorney? And yes, we as agents, I give recommendations all the time, but I'd rather give you those recommendations early. I'd rather have introductions already out the way so that this process can move along smoothly as it needs to be and get you to your end goal, which is closed in 30 days. So, questions that you want to ask the lender. You want the lender, are they able to close in 30 days? Because sometimes some lenders do need a little bit more time if they're a smaller boutique. So you want to know that ahead of time. Also, with the inspector, you want to know how long does it take them to turn around the inspection report. It should take them about 24 hours. They should be able to give you a bulk of the information verbally as well as you walk with them throughout the inspection, but you want to know how long it's going to take for them to get that information back to you. And also, you want extra inspector, are they able to walk the roof? Because sometimes they'll just do a visual glance up at the roof from the ground and just look up and say everything looks good or whatever. But if you can find an inspector that's really going to walk the roof, that's superb. All right, so now let's say you've got all that underway and now you've submitted an offer and the offer has been accepted. You want to make sure that all parties in this deal, and your agent can potentially do most of this. I do it for my clients. All parties should know, hey, we have an offer on the table. This is the property. This is where it's located. These are the other parties who are involved, and this is where we are in the timeline. And so at this point, you're moving into inspection. So now you're getting the inspection done. If there's a basement, you may want to consider getting a radon test done. You can also do a radon test at a later date and just remedy that situation at that time if radon levels are high. You also want to limit the number of contingencies that you have in this contract, because contingencies, yes, they do protect you and they give you a way to get out of the contract. But honestly, you don't want to be bidding on anything that you're looking to get out of so early on in the sale process, unless it's something major with the 4 areas that I tell my clients, which is the electrical, mechanical, environmental, or structural. Those are the areas that are kind of, if red flags come into play and the seller is unwilling to negotiate in those areas, then, it's room to be able to cancel the deal, unless the home was listed as is. And at that case, it's pretty much, you go in knowing that whatever is wrong, you're assuming the responsibility from that out the gate because it's being sold as is. But limit the number of contingencies. So keep your mortgage contingency, because the bank is only going to loan what the home is worth, and your inspection contingencies. From there, now your inspection is complete. You've had to go back and maybe renegotiate a little bit with the seller, but the offer is still ready to move forward and on to the next steps, which is, depending on where you are, can be your purchase and sales being drafted up, if we're here in Mass, and your attorney will do that. And the purchase and sales will include everything that was in the initial offer and anything that had been negotiated in between that time during inspection will be included in the purchase and sale. So it is a lengthier version of the first offer that you have signed. Once that's drafted up and both parties are in agreement and the attorneys for both sides have reviewed it, then you sign it, and now all of this is going over to the lender. Now your lender, a bulk of the 30 days is going to be spent with the lender and on their side in underwriting. And so the lender will take the information, review the P&S. They're going to send out an appraiser. The appraiser is going to go out there. They're going to look at the property. They're going to look at similar properties within the area and see what those have sold for. They want to make sure that you are getting a good deal. The bank is getting a good deal on this property. They're not going to want to be upside down in it. So they're only going to lend what they feel the property is worth. And honestly, that's the area that you should be bidding in anyway. We'll get into that in a whole nother video with this whole market and what's going on and gap clauses and all that stuff. But for this video, we're going to focus on just getting from contracts to close in under 30 days. So underwriting and everything is going according to plan. During this time, you don't want to go out, don't open up any new credit cards, don't move any large sums of money around in accounts. You're going to have to explain where those came from. They're going to check your financial and credit profile and make sure it's in the same condition it was in when they pre-approved you. So you want to just make sure that all of that stuff is in a row. Like, make sure all your ducks are in a row. During this time, what you can be doing though is creating a file for yourself with all the information that you've submitted, because I promise you, there's always one or two pieces of documentation that the lenders may need again, and you want to have it easily accessible to be able to send it over to them and not hold up the process. So now, underwriting and everything is done. Appraisal has come back, and you've gotten your commitment letter. Now you're going to receive your closing disclosure, and your closing disclosure is going to outline everything that you're going to be responsible for in terms financially for the close of this home. So make sure you go over those numbers, and it should look similar to the numbers that the lender has provided to you early on about your rates and stuff like that. And then if the closing disclosure looks good, you're going to sign it, and then you're ready to close and move on to the closing table, signed, 45, 50 to 60 pieces of paper, and then you're going to get your keys. So it is possible to go from contract to close in under 30 days. You just have to make sure that all your ducks are in a row. Make sure you have a competent team that you're working with. And that team, again, for just a recap, will consist of your agent, your lender, a title company, or a real estate attorney, depending on what your state calls for, and your inspector. There might be one other person within this party, depending on how your deal is structured. But for the most part, those are the essential key pieces to get your offer from contract to close in 30 days. Thank you for tuning in with me, B. Brown, here over at The Spot, where we focus on real estate and lifestyle. And meet me back here next week for another one. Bye.